Please welcome Lynds.
So today I'm going to be doing legs. Usually how I look at a regular leg day is I want to warm up my joints. So I do leg curls and leg extensions before I get into all the heavy lifting. And I do quite a bit of volume in those two exercises just to ensure that there's a lot of blood in both my muscle and my joint. So when I do get to the bigger lifts, I essentially don't have to lift as heavy as I used to keep that kind of momentum and that intensity. And also my joints need lubrication. So for something like on a leg extension, today what I'm going to be doing, you don't go, I'd say go 75% of your, not max weight, not 1 RM, but like a weight that you normally would use, and do 3 rounds of 15 reps with 20-second breaks. So essentially one set is 45 reps. So you do 15, 20-second break, 15, 20-second break, 15. That's one set. Give yourself a good minute, minute and a half break, then right back into it again. Like I said, relatively lighter than normal weight. You're gonna notice a lot of pump, a lot of blooding get in there. But when you go to the bigger lifts, like the squats and the leg press, you'll just feel more comfortable. There's more blood in there, so more stability, and it makes for an easier transition instead of worrying about your joints, getting warmed up when you get over there, all that stuff. All right, so for the leg press, so I call it a dead leg press. So what you're doing is slow negative. You're gonna let the weight right off, and you explode it all the way through. So slow. Let it right off, explode. So basically what this does is it builds up your static strength. So you're basically, it's like a long negative. So whenever you hear people talking about trying to build their bench, usually the first reply is start working on your negatives. And then taking the weight off and exploding up builds up your explosive strength. And then once you do that, try to get as many as you can, staying on the heel. Common mistakes is people aren't hanging long enough on the way down. So you're gonna take a good 10 seconds. 5 to 10, I just took 10. Letting the weight pause at the bottom and taking your, like, you're not taking your feet off, but you're just letting the weight there and then exploding up. When you explode up, explode through the heel. Most common mistakes there is people explode through the toe more so than the heel, and they round their spine at the bottom. So form for the leg press still stands. Still keep yourself against that pad, keeping all the weight on your heel, bringing it nice down and slow. The only difference is when you get down to the bottom, you're letting the weight sit on the pegs, exploding up. Don't explode to full extension. That's another big no-no. You explode to still 3/4 length and flex. When you go to your full length, so basically at the very end, go until your form breaks. So until you feel the load start to transfer to the toe, your body's trying to shift in some sort of manner, that's your telltale sign that you're done. So keep your form in mind instead of let's just pack the weight on. So this exercise is not about weight, it's about control. This is something, again, I got from John Meadows. Killer exercise. It's gonna take the strength right out of you, but it's something that works. Something that I like to put in every 5-6 weeks as just a reminder what intensity truly is, because you gotta focus all the way through. When you're bringing it down, you gotta focus. When you're exploding, you gotta focus. There's not a one point in this rep that you cannot focus on your form. So if you're having trouble with your form in a leg press, try this out, because you can't take your focus off, because you're gonna hurt yourself. So give it a try. For me, it's something that came naturally because I was a track and field guy, so I was able to press that button and totally defocus. One thing I always told people when I played football, when I did track, the only thing that I physically heard was footsteps. I never heard people cheering, never heard the wind. I just heard footsteps. Can't explain it. That's just the way my brain focused. But when it comes to outside stressors and intensity, you got to be able to basically drown out everything. So if you need headphones, if you need a training partner to push you through, anything like that, comes down to being able to basically desensitivify, or whatever the word is, basically navigate yourself away from all your distractions and focus on what you're doing at that particular moment. So if it's leg press, if it's bench press, if it's whatever the exercise is, you got to be able to just focus on that one thing. So good thing is, if you're having stressors outside, pull all those in right before you're taking your breaths and you're getting ready. Pull all them in and like, okay, this is stressing me out and this is stressing me out. What can I do? Focus on what you're doing and push yourself to the limit. And when I say focus on the form, focus on what you're doing, focus on going through the motions in the proper way, but pushing it to when your form breaks. So don't think about, I'm doing 10 reps, I'm doing 8 reps. Think about, I'm gonna fucking push it until I can't push no more, but I'm gonna push it with good form. That's when I say go for broke, that's what I mean when I say go for broke. Your form's paramount, and you're going till your form breaks. Plain and simple. It's common sense. And that's one big thing that I always stress is training, is most of it is common sense. Form is paramount. The weight you're pushing is secondary. And intensity is right there with the weight you're pushing. So if it's have to be a day that's less weight, doesn't mean your intensity comes down. That just means you fucking push it. Push it to the limit that day. When it comes to balance in life, like you gotta remember, this is something that you're putting yourself through. You're choosing to do this, but you're choosing to do it because it's something that you want to do to better yourself. You don't have to. It's not like, I know this is probably gonna touch some buttons. It's not like religion. You're trying to push a religion on somebody else. This is something that if people ask for the information, give it to them. If they want to be taught it, teach them. If they want something to better themselves, help them. But never push anything on anybody. So being able to dignify between the two is big when it comes to this sort of thing. I was a hard gainer when it came to quads, and the only thing that worked for me was more volume. So not thinking about rep range. Hell, when I was competing, I was doing sets of 100 on leg extension. I was doing sets of 50 and 60 on leg press with pretty heavy weights. I was just going, my mindset was when I sat down in that chair, I was blocking everything out, and I was going until my body said I couldn't go anymore. So, and that worked for me. I'm not saying it's gonna work for everybody. Some people work better with heavy weights, but the one thing that everyone has to stress, and I don't know how many times I gotta stress this, form is more important than what the weight you're pushing. So if you're focused on building your legs, hamstrings, or quads, try a bit of both. Try heavier weights, see if that works for you. Try volume, see if that works for you. When I say volume, I still mean moderate to heavy. When I say heavy, then obviously you're going super heavy. But you're still not thinking about rep range. This is where, personally, I feel people kind of go astray. Because they're so focused on my program says 8. I have to do 8. You get to 6, not a problem. 7, not a problem. And all of a sudden their mind shuts off at 8. You could have did 3, 4, 5 more easily. So I always think regardless of what that weight is, I'm going to my biceps now. My body starts to break. So that's the way my brain thinks. When it comes to a lagging body part, is I'm going, and I'm going to broke. So give it a try. That's all I can really tell you is just make sure that your form is priority number one. Doesn't matter what you put on the thing. So give it a try.